can you spot Anole, my lizard? If not, that is perfectly fine because that is how I wanted this tank set up when I first set it up around like 8 months ago now. And just to show you guys, she is actually all the way up here. So she's been thriving inside of this enclosure, but we're going to be moving her. I turned off the light on it, but it's right there. We'll get a glimpse at that enclosure in 1 second. But for now, this enclosure has been the greatest thing for her. So it is a little bit smaller. It is only a 30 gallons, so there's not too much to hide up top or going more arboreal-like. And that is why I wanted to move her inside of a different enclosure and get something else to help clean up some of these isopods before they really get out of control. It's great having them all in here, but there is a lot of them. So that is why I'm gonna be moving her out. But let me just tell you guys what is exactly in here as of right now. So obviously, to start off at the highest part of the food chain, we have Anole, the Anole. And she's basically the only predator that's in here. The rest of them are just gonna be decomposers, or different forms of decomposers. So right here, we have upside down is Spider-Man. No, I'm just kidding. So that is a superworm beetle. So after the superworms, when you buy them from the store, if you don't feed them off and you put them in an enclosure and you don't see them for a while and they pop up like that, that is the reason why. That is their final stage. That is their Super Saiyan stage, which is pretty funny. But that is the actual stage where they start breeding and start laying eggs as well. We also have some dubia roaches in here. I don't know where any of the adult dubia roaches are, but here's some more of those guys. They're all over this enclosure. So, and you guys can see there's even more species in here. So let's go ahead and go with those. So in this enclosure, right here, as you can see, what we have is going to be Armadillidium klugi, Montenegros, and those are commonly known as the clown isopods. And then we also have blue powdered isopods. We have springtails in here. We have giant canyon isopods, as well as these guys. They're probably the most expensive ones I have in here, and those are the Magic Potion American line isopods, so the Armadillidium vulgare. And there's some of the baby dubia roaches because they've been breeding in here, which is great. But if you guys see all that movement, right there, there is a lot of stuff that is in here. And Anole cannot eat it all by herself, nor do I want her to stay in a tank that is this small. So I'm going to be moving her out. But there is a lot of different movement inside of this enclosure, and that is exactly how I want it and how I've set it up. So the leaves have been doing great. Oh, here goes one of the adult dubias right there. So we have a few females and 1 or 2 males in here, but they have just been doing great in here, and this tank has been flourishing. Here is a picture of the tank when I first set it up compared to now. As you guys can see, this tank has just grown so much since then. So let me go ahead and show you guys the new enclosure that she is going in. All right, guys, so we're actually moving from this enclosure. See, now she's turning a little bit green. She's getting ready to this enclosure. So this is an Exoterra. I forgot the actual dimensions on it, but I do already have it labeled right for her, Anole. And this is actually going to be her new enclosure. So I just watered a little bit earlier, but I set this one up around a week ago with all the stuff that's in it. Obviously, I'm going to be throwing some different isopods as well as just some isopods that she can eat while they're in here, while everything else gets established. I already know which type of isopods I'm going to be throwing in here. That's the one thing that I did not put in here yet. So I did put some superworms, I did put dubia roaches, I did put springtails, I did put earthworms. So everything else is in there. But the one thing that I did not put in there yet was the isopods. So let's go ahead and put those isopods in there before we put Anole inside of the enclosure. So of course, out of all of my bins, the dairy cows have to be towards the bottom right there. Then we got the dairy cow bin. So yeah, give me 1 second. All right, so this is my isopod, or my dairy cow enclosure. So as you guys can see, I do have a lot of dairy cows. They're already all moving around, but most of them usually like to stay underneath here. Yeah, so I have a lot, as you guys can see. So I'm not gonna be running out by putting some inside of Anole's enclosure. So let me go ahead and just do this. All right, guys, so this is as many as I'm putting in there to start off the colony. I still have way more. Plus, I'm going to be taking these out as I see fit, just because when I do sell these isopods for my business, featuredcreatures.shop, if you guys want to go check it out. But since I do sell them for my business, that is why I have a lot, and a lot of different species as well. I'm adding more to the website soon, just to let you guys know. But anyways, I understand not everyone has a lot of species, or at least a lot of numbers in a species to be able to put inside of their bioactive enclosures. But this is a good reason why you'd want to go ahead and start breeding your own, is because you can seed your own enclosures, especially with these guys. These guys are called dairy cows, Priscilla laevis dairy cows, Priscilla laevis being their scientific name, obviously dairy cow being their common name. And these guys are literally what they're named after. They are cows. They like to eat, eat, and eat. And you see they come in many different sizes. No, we have one escaping. And they come in many different sizes. So I'm really hoping that as they breed, the smaller ones, since they like to eat and usually always have good nutrients inside of them, that they will feed Anole really nice. And I don't have them inside of the 30-gallon right now. I just have those other 4 species. But these are going to be the sole species that are inside of this enclosure. So let's go ahead and put them in there. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and open this up and put it in there. All the plants that I planted seem like they're doing nice. Some of them, this was just when I first put them in there, but now it's starting to grow back. You guys can see that's starting to grow back and look real nice. These plants are gonna look real nice. All of them when I first put them in were drooping over like that. So seeing that they're standing up, that's why I thought it was a perfect time to be able to put them in there. Now that they can actually hold the weight of Anole if she wants to lay on them. So I do plan on the pothos growing, as well as the plants in the back to be able to grow. And it's gonna give her a lot of space to lay on, just like this enclosure does. So let's go ahead and put the isopods in now. Alright guys, so now the roly-polies are in here. So as you guys can see, they're all going to start hiding and moving around everywhere and just exploring their new enclosure. I'm gonna can't wait until I start seeing some that's gonna be up there, just like I've seen the roaches up there so far, as well as just going all over throughout the leaf litter. It's gonna be great because even back here, I did plant a few plants. There's a lot of leaves, but there's a pothos plant right there as well. That's gonna get a lot of sunlight. And once that grows, so you guys can see that right here. And once that pothos grows, because now it looks like it's nice and strong, it's actually gonna come over. And I want this one to go across the front. While this grows, that plant grows, and I want this one to go over and kind of droop down. Or if it's strong enough to lift itself up and then create a canopy up here, that would be a great thing for Anole. And Anole, from what I've checked, I'm really confident that she's a girl. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a male in here as well, and maybe another female, and then just have them in here and living their best life. But let's go ahead and get Anole. She looks like she's sleeping right there. But I think she's ready to get out of this enclosure and go ahead and go in the next one. You guys ready? Got her. Just gotta grab her. There she is. So from what I've checked, you see, you don't have to squeeze her too much. Ow. So you don't have to squeeze her too much because she obviously is starting to get used to me actually holding her. So that's why I'm barely just holding like her body. Don't even have to hold her by her neck to make sure she doesn't bite me. So now let's go ahead and release her inside of her enclosure. But before we do that, I do want to just let you guys know that down here, there's a bunch of space for her to hide. She can also go inside of there and come out through the top. This side is empty, but this side right here actually has a dirt going all the way down it. That's what I stuffed with dirt. So that's why the plants are doing really well. So let's go ahead and release her inside of her new enclosure. All right, guys, so I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. So Nelly is right up there. I don't think she's gonna be moving too much unless I scare her or spook her, but I am gonna be getting a new light to go on top. This light I did have on the 30-gallon originally, then I got that 24-hour light. So now that we got this enclosure, you already know what I'm gonna have to do. So I am gonna be getting a 24-hour light for this one as well. But this light does really good at, it's actually, you know, an aquarium light, but it does really good at growing plants. That I had it in a 30-gallon a few years ago, actually. So I've had this light for around 3 years now. So I had it on a different 30-gallon, but it was a 30-gallon that was a bioactive enclosure, and it worked really well for growing the plants. And especially when I first got this enclosure, that's what I had the light on. So the plants were growing, and then once I got this one, they started really thriving. So I'm definitely going to be, this light has also been on this tank for the last week, and the plants have been doing well and starting to spring back up just like that one. So overall, I know this light's gonna work, but we'll go ahead and get another one just to make it better for her as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys did, go ahead and smash that like button, go ahead and comment and subscribe if you like the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.